was the breakup that shocked the world last summer when Tommy Fury and Molly-Mae Hague called it quits. There was plenty of speculation about the reason for the breakup, and in a new interview with Men's Health UK YouTube channel, Tommy has set the record straight. That's a difficult situation for any relationship to be in terms of if you are the partner and you're watching, you know, the other person drink too much. What do? I mean, you've had experience within your family situation, your parental situation, haven't you?
But I think in any relationship, if something that serious is happening, you have to confront it. I mean, I'm obviously quite confrontational, so I probably would anyway. But I think, you know, you can't live with someone who's doing damage to themselves and damaging your relationship without addressing it to an extent. I was interested in that clip, though, because was he saying that these infidelities did occur, but it's drink that's to blame?
No, he said, I've been reading that I've been cheating, but that's rubbish.
He said that he'd been reading that I've been cheating and that's why we split up, but that's rubbish. I was drinking too much. I'm just...
No, but he's saying the reason for the split was that he had a drink problem, not because he cheated. That's
we always take Inspector Moore's word on this.
Yes, far be it from me to argue.
She's on every syllable. She'll get it.
I say I'm confrontational, but I wouldn't confront her.
No, but you say you have to, and you know, forgive me for bringing this up, but you've spoken about before. You know, your father had an alcohol problem, so it was clearly within your parents' relationship. Did your mum confront?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think the main reason they finally split up was because she found in his kind of study behind all the books empty bottles, lots and lots of empty bottles. I was really young, I was 8 years old, so, like, you know, memory is subjective, isn't it? But she did, and it didn't work out as a result. And I think that, you know, the problem is that unless someone accepts that they have a problem, unless someone wants help, it doesn't matter how much you go on and on and on about the fact that they have an issue. They have to be looking for support themselves. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't address it and bring it up, but I think you can't count on it changing the dynamic.
Right. So, actually, you confront, but what outcome are you expecting?
Yeah. And I think, you know, that's an individual choice that has to be made. You know, my father carried on drinking and he died at 46. So, you know, he clearly made the wrong choice for all of us. But, you know, that wasn't because people didn't say to him, Peter, you ought to stop.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's interesting because, you know, what he was saying there, obviously, and you think, well, maybe there had been lots of conversations leading up to that, because she wouldn't just say, right, that's it, you're out, because they've got a young child together, they're supposed to be getting married. So maybe there was lots of conversations and he just didn't listen. And, you know, in lots of relationships, you hear people that sort of go, well, I've issued an ultimatum, it's the alcohol or me. Quite a lot of people choose the alcohol because they're addicts.
It's an addiction, isn't it?
So it's good that he has quite clearly is putting it out there and is saying she's absolutely right, and he's obviously going to try and do something about it.
But is it always an addiction? I mean, and I say this for somebody who's...
No, I'm only saying addiction because he used the word addiction.
Sure, absolutely. Well, see, that's interesting, that word addiction, isn't it? Because, and I have no idea whether he has an addiction or not, I'm not comment on that, but if there could be just a mismatch, you know, in a relationship whereby one partner... I mean, I'm not suggesting you've got an alcohol problem, Grace, but Ella doesn't drink.
Yeah.
You do drink. I mean, can that cause some friction?
Well, I think it's funny because usually I would, like, on Friday night, I'd have a bottle of wine with a straw, sat there watching my favourite TV programme, whatever. You know, if I'm going out with my friends, I'm going to be carried home. But when I am with Ella and she's not drinking, it feels a bit wrong to be sat there just drinking a bottle of wine, because then it's like, it kind of makes you look at yourself and be like, is this good to do? So I feel like I have cut down a little bit. I mean, I still love Whispering Angel.
And does she not drink because she's a footballer and she has to train?
Athlete, so and also her family aren't really, like, big drinkers. And I've been raised in a family where as soon as the clock turns 5 on a Friday, we're popping bottles.
Right.
So it's sort of like, yeah, sometimes it can be hard to navigate through that, but it's never a bad thing not drinking as much, is it?
But you're not a big drinker.
No, I'm not. But and also,
we
we can't deny that for a lot of people, drinking is fun, isn't it? I mean, I'll be honest, say, like, I mean, Ian doesn't drink much, and when we were younger, I was kind of frustrated with him not drinking very much because on occasion I wanted to go out and have a good time, and alcohol was very much part of having a good time, you know.
But there is such a
He's worn me down.
Complicated, mixed messages around alcohol, particularly, you know, here in this country. You know, it's you celebrate or commiserate. You know, there's not an occasion where alcohol isn't the thing that's supposed to fuel it. You know, and yet at the same time, we obviously have, you know, there's big drinking issues here, and I sometimes just think, you know, if it was like a Class A drug or something, we'd have a completely different attitude to it, wouldn't we? But because it's so acceptable, I think it makes it very difficult to sort of draw the line with what's okay and what isn't, and also for people to work out for themselves whether or not they've got a drinking problem. I mean, I sometimes think I've got a drinking problem because the idea of going out after dark to a social occasion and not being able to kind of fuel myself on a couple of glasses.
That's just age.
Absolutely terrifying, you know.
We don't want to go out.
You don't want to be reliant, do you? But I don't want to go out either, that's true.
It tips over, doesn't it? I think you're right, there's a thing around alcohol, the way it's marketed and everything, is that when you're young, it's quite sexy. Like, oh, yeah, let's go out, let's have a drink, da-da-da-da. And then there gets to that point, that tipping point, where you get older, and then you get the people that go, actually, I'm doing too much of this, I'm going to be healthier, and then you get the people that can't give it up.
Yeah.
And then it becomes...
Yeah, and there's not much sexy about an old drunk, is there?
No. And you start to value life. Like, you've got less and less of it.
Yeah.
You want to live it as best you can.